Comparative Aiki in action. Just like I enjoy comparing different versions of doing the same kata, I discovered in my study of aiki-ju-jutsu and aikido, I trained in aikido for 6 years under Kanai sensei, that, and I had taken Hakuryu Jiu-Jitsu, there seemed to be more than one way to do a recognizably identifiable technique. And people argued over these things. Is this the right way? And sometimes they argued over the things even from the same system. I had a student once from France who moved from northern France to southern France and had a dan rank in Aikido. And when she moved to the new dojo, they wouldn't recognize her rank. Well, that's kind of understandable. They were in a different federation. But they weren't in a different style. They weren't in a different art. They were both doing Aikido. They weren't in a different style. They were both doing Ueshiba Aikido. They just did the techniques differently. So rather than say to her, well, why don't you spend a few months retraining, and so you do Ikkyo our way and Nikkyo our way, they just didn't accept her rank. Now in my dojo, when someone came in from another system, if they obviously had skills, but they did things differently, we said precisely that. We'll give you 3 months to retrain, and I'll give you a cross-ranking exam. And then after that, you get to go for another rank when you're ready, and I won't worry about time and grade requirements or things like that, because you obviously have experience, you have knowledge. I have to keep my system whole by having a specific method as a rank requirement. But that doesn't negate your knowledge of how to do techniques or how to take somebody down. So I thought it was a fascinating thing to study how different people did basics. Now, obviously, you know, there's variations of things like Ikkyo, Nikkyo, Sankyo from Aikido terms. Not only in how they're named, but also how they're performed. But also there are variations in how you stand, how you receive, what's the initial position, hold downs. And so I started writing this, and thanks to the good grace of Toby Threadgill, who was a photographer in Dallas at the time and one of my students, he was good enough to shoot the photos of this. He's now the head of Takamura Shindo Yoshin Ryu. And without him, I would not have been able to do such a quality job on the photographs in putting the book together. There's over 200 pages, 225 pages, covers a whole bunch of techniques. If you wanted to see them in action, bushidokai.net has a series of videos by the same name, Comparative Aiki in Action, 6 videos. Now, for some people, 6 videos, well, I'll have to spend a little bit of money, and that's a lot of time. This may be a more convenient thing. Also, people like to have a book in front of them and say, let me do that with the book right in front of me. It's easier for me to follow. This is an action book, Comparative Aiki in Action. That is, although I have some mild philosophical discourses throughout and make some jokes, basically it's about technique after technique after technique. I prefer to talk about principles, but you can't talk about principles unless you have something solid in which the principle lies. The techniques are the solid things in which principles lie. Everyone does the techniques differently. So every time you do a technique differently, you may be using a different principle. And that's why it was important to me to learn how to do several versions of technique and compare them. Comparative Aiki in action. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you.